Here's the basic. Here's what is really what we can't talk about on The Boys. So, and then, and she looks down and he says, "Yeah, you're gonna do this," and suddenly there's a group of and they just all over and running around and then two more people come in and they're all both boys and they do and it's and she's like, and then the bathroom where the Wonder Woman is and she says, and it's just wow, it's, and then he says and that's wow. I mean, that's I'm glad we were able to say that finally on the show.
You're listening to And This Is Why I Love Comics.
Andy and Mike!
Hi, everybody. Welcome to And This Is Why I Love Comics. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we're talking away. We got a book ready for you. If this is your first time, welcome. Thanks.
Oh, this is going to be a doozy.
This will be a fun one. Welcome to the party. We're old friends. We chat about comics. We chat about movies. We chat about role-playing. We chat about, I don't know, funny stories that we think are funny, but nobody else does. We got I think this is the 24th episode. We have 23 other episodes for you to choose from. If I were you, I would skip the first two and go back to those later because the sound quality is okay, but not great. I'd start at episode 3. We'd like to think that we have better sound quality now, but sometimes we have microphone issues, and it's kind of our thing now. So we kind of include them in there, and we accept that our microphones are crazy. I don't know what else I was going to say. I'll probably edit this down to hi, welcome, this is the podcast.
Yeah, beyond that, it's just,
That's it. Yeah, welcome.
The rest of the stuff is gravy.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about it, but this is our year anniversary. Did you know that a year ago, today,
Thank you, Neil Diamond.
today,
That's a great song.
We published our first episode. We had recorded it earlier, obviously, because we don't do live events. But today, first day, episode 1 that I just cut on, we put out.
Yep. Yeah, don't listen to it, but just know in the back of your head there was a few in the past.
Yeah, you can listen to it. Just make sure you listen to other episodes first, so you know that we actually have grown as podcasters. At least we think we have.
Yeah, not grown up, just grown.
Right. Yeah, we laugh at really
men with
weird things anyway, so.
Brace yourself for a couple of fart jokes.
Right. So, happy anniversary.
Do we have to go to Crime Alley and put a rose on the street?
Right, yeah, put a rose, pick up the pearls that are still there.
Yeah, what that fell under the dumpster.
Right, yeah.
There's still another one out there.
Still in there. Yeah, we gotta look through the telescope and see Krypton, We're looking back into the past. We could just, I'm sure there's kryptonite nearby. It goes everywhere, right? So we can just use that.
Sand,
it's everywhere. And we talk about Star Wars too. Don't think we don't, because we try to put in a Phantom Menace comment in every episode. In fact, there's a contest going on right now. If you listen to every episode prior to this one and mention how we talked about Phantom Menace and what the timestamp is on it, we will send you sand from the movie.
Yep. Genuine Tatooine sand.
From Tatooine itself, we will send you the sand. It gets in everywhere, but we're not responsible for that. That's your own problem.
It's not our responsibility what happens to it after that.
Yep. Change your name to Skywalker and accept that you love sand.
Yeah, it's one of our favorites.
Yeah. Certainly one of mine.
Sand.
Now, do you like Attack of the Clones better than the Phantom Menace? Because it's considered to be the worst one of the first 6. Anyway, I don't know opinions.
That's a really good question because it's like all of those movies were they were such a visual spectacle, and if you only like took it in as that, just like woo,
if you had no audio,
yeah, and you watched it like you watch your fireworks on the 4th of July,
right?
I think they're okay because you're not watching it for it to have any real story or meaning or progressing of characters. Not to go all off on the hero's journey. The first Star Wars movie did well. And these were just ramblings, incoherent musings of George Lucas.
So you liked Rogue One better?
Rogue One, I would watch that one again, which I haven't. I only saw it in the theaters, but I would probably watch that one before I'd watch any of the prequels.
I loved Rogue One. I just didn't like how it ended.
In what way? Are you saying because of the...
Because everybody
spoilers?
died. I would have accepted 1 or 2 survivors and the rest died. But to me, Star Wars is always about hope. And even the theme of that movie was, there's hope and rebellion and all that stuff. There's hope and hope and hope. And it's shoved down your face. And then everybody dies at the end. It kind of just... And the argument is, well, not everybody survives, and they did so much for the rebellion. But I still want hope in my Star Wars because that's what I grew up with.
A lot of Bothan spies,
right? So, well, they weren't Bothan, but that was the second.
No.
That was the second Death Star, not the first one. Let me push my glasses up here, please. That's
actually,
not that Death Star. But,
that would be the second Death Star.
So, I just like, if any of them had survived, I would have been fine with the movie. Like, there was hope. But I just thought it was a waste of potential for a lot of those characters. Even though we're going to get an Andor prequel miniseries from Disney Plus.
One of the critical issues of whenever you do a story that relates back to a character you've seen in a future state,
like Obi-Wan,
it kind of takes a lot of the drama out of it.
Yeah, they survived.
It's like, oh no, Obi-Wan's in trouble. But I kind of remember seeing his death in Star Wars later on that would make it so
wait,
he's
he
gonna get out of
dies?
this. I'm not really...
Spoiler. Obi-Wan dies
crap.
like in the first movie, right?
I believe so.
Was that your head hitting the desk?
For giving away such crucial information. I was like, no, what have I done? I would have walked out. Now, next thing you know, I'll say that Darth Vader's Luke's dad or something like that.
No, here's where I put the crickets. And, okay, we're back. Spoiler alert if you've never watched a Star Wars movie. Yeah. We're doing it. We're spoiling it on a comic book podcast about The Boys.
I don't think did we say what book we were reading yet?
I don't know. Let me erase that.
Now we have.
Hey, Mike, we have a book tonight that you chose.
Did I?
I don't know. I have no idea. Well, I always blame you anyway. So we have a book that you chose, and it's from Wildstorm / Dynamite. I always thought this was an Image comic, but it wasn't an Image comic. It was Wildstorm, I guess, but that was DC, and then Dynamite. So anyway, I don't want to talk about it yet. So how's your week been going?
Oh, it's not been too bad.
I mean, I know it's Sunday. But...
I had a friend and his entire family just basically uproot and move to Scotland. And technically, they're on the flight right now doing that.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's a little bit of a...
They just felt like it?
I think I chased them off.
Oh, yeah. You said, "Hey, I'm going to do The Boys. You want to read this?" He went, "Nope. See ya.
Let's buy some plane tickets and get the heck out of here before
the main character is from Scotland. Hey, that's where I'll go."
Yeah. Watch it? I lived it. I had one of my brothers come down for a visit. Very truncated visit as well, because it was just kind of like hey, we're coming in late at night and we're leaving crazy early.
Right.
It's like,
Can we stay at your place?
Yeah. It was just kind of like, in passing. So
You said no, but that was pretty inconvenient when they showed up anyway.
Tried as might. It was like we turn off all the lights,
right. Lock the doors.
We actually parked diagonally in the driveway to kind of make no room.
You moved.
They still tracked us down.
Showed up.
Yeah, they found us through our Amazon orders.
Dang it.
Yeah, they could track them through that. Amazon knows where you're at all times.
It's your monthly supply of cookies.
I want my $2. Did I tell you that I watched that again?
No. One Crazy Summer?
This was Better Off Dead.
Better Off Dead, okay.
I remember when that movie came out, and I was like going, this movie is the comedy movie of the century. This is it. This gets me. Watched it again, and I'm like going, please get funny. Please get funny at some point. There's got to be something in here.
Yeah, that's why I sometimes don't want to watch old shows that I loved. Like, I took a big risk when I watched Murder by Death again, and it was pleasantly surprised that it held up remarkably well. And then, there's some that just like, what? Why was I watching this? Why did I laugh so hard originally, but this time not once?
So, my wife and I were watching it, and we were thinking, like, it's like we were in this 80s movies kind of kick, and I will not watch a John Hughes film. I'm kind of done with it. That was a thing of its time. Now, the only things I will watch are just when it's like, John Hughes by accident, meaning like Christmas Vacation, right. Where it's like, oh, yeah, that was a John Hughes film.
Was that Breakfast Club?
Yeah, Breakfast Club, nope. Okay. And
we watched that last
Pretty
year.
in Pink.
My wife hadn't seen it, and I think it held up. It wasn't funny, but it held up as a drama.
Yeah, and I think that's, the formulaic nature of it. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I kind of will watch that. That's still got some funny moments, but again, you don't think of that as a John Hughes. I guess it's the 80s teen Brat Pack stuff I can't watch. So maybe it's not all John Hughes, but it's just... But yeah, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles still holds up. Christmas Vacation holds up. Yeah, Home Alone I can't watch.
Well, we can.
What you gonna do?
I just like it for the traps. I could care less about Kevin or whoever. I just want to see the traps again.
Yeah, so talking about serial killers, that child, I think there should be like whatever happened to Kevin McAllister 20 years later.
Cell Block C.
Any child who has a natural inclination towards the absolutely brutal traps that he had set,
right?
He
joined the army and has like the highest head count, of any Marine.
Yeah, sniper of the highest extreme. They should have called it like, that the kid's, the person's name was Kevin. Right. And it's just like, yeah, this is where he is now. It's like, man, just some little tip of the hat to people going like, you ever wanted to know what happened to that child?
Right.
It's been 40 years. I think some of it might be declassified at this point. Because he even went to, like, it'd be one thing to set up traps in your own home, but he went to New York, got lost there.
His parents lost him there too.
So this kid's like a survivalist.
I don't know if you've heard of Mark Rober. Have you heard of Mark Rober?
Yeah.
The YouTube star, a science guy, and he sends out glitter bombs to people, and the address on his label is Kevin McAllister, and
yeah, that's brilliant. But it's like, it's a little scary when you think about that kid. I could probably maybe set up one or two traps, but that kid had every angle covered with a variety of options. It's like I would have set up the same trap over and over and over again, but he had every single entrance had its own separate trap.
Yeah, he definitely thought about it before he was left alone. Like he had it in a book somewhere in his diary. Heat
You
the
know,
doorknob. Coat it with
Yeah.
ice if it's winter.
Yeah, I'm going to have a bunch of paint buckets on rope. Yeah, we find out that his dad was like a Green Beret and has been teaching his kids all these years.
Right.
Survival. It's like, Y2K's coming. You got to be prepared.
Right. He lives in the bunker in the back.
That tree house is hollow. There's you could go right down through the center of the tree to this deep bunker with all sorts of weaponry.
It's like when Batman lived in the big tree with the building.
Oh, the Wayne Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had his penthouse mansion on the top. And it's like, what kind of a jerk boss does that?
Right.
It's like, okay, it's end of the day, everybody. You have to, what is it, an hour and a half, 2-hour commute? I'm just going to go up this elevator and I'm home. And can you imagine everybody every day that comes into the Wayne Foundation hits the penthouse button just because?
Well, then he had no consideration for people with allergies.
You never know. I mean, was that like a nut-bearing tree? Could that have had almonds hanging from it? That could have killed somebody. But we're really doing well about dodging the bullet of this book, aren't we? I'm going to ask you a couple questions that have absolutely nothing to do with the topic at hand. But I think it fits with the overall premise that we're.
This isn't even series. The boys related. Okay, go ahead.
No. So the question I have is, back in our day when we were buying comic books, you go to the 7-Eleven, you grab a comic off the shelf. Inside were, you'd read the comic itself. If you ever read it, you might have just stared at it for the art like I did. But the question that I have for you is this. With the comics back in the day, there was enough of a circulation that it merited legitimate advertising. Not self-advertising with hey, it's a Marvel comic and our ads are about more Marvel comics. And it's so we're eating the price of you advertising your own stuff. That's why comics are crazy expensive. But back in the day, they did have ads of all shapes, sizes, and just wonderful things that gave options that you would think holy crap, I want that. Did you ever one, want a thing, and then two, actually order out to get it?
Let me think about that.
I know I'm kind of throwing this at you. Because the reason why this kind of got brought up, I was looking, and I'll let you think while I ramble a little bit. I came across a set of X-ray specs.
That you ordered?
In the basement. I kind of got them later in life because I was kind of curious to see exactly.
Because you wanted them to really work.
I wanted them to really work.
Yeah,
all the advertisement. The X-ray specs was going to be the thing. And then a coworker of mine actually did buy sea monkeys and had them. Okay. And so we got to talking about these ads and all that stuff. But some of these things I wanted, and I'm still in the back of my head trying to figure out, would that really work? Because there's one in potential that I remember vividly of order for $3.99 plans to make your own hovercraft using fans that were laying around the house, apparently, a lawnmower engine and some other things.
How to?
Yeah.
Well, I remember the sea monkeys, and
yep.
I think somebody ordered it in my house. It was. I don't think it was me. Maybe it was my brother. Yeah, sea monkeys. I'm trying to think other than the Twinkie ads.
Oh, yeah, the Hostess ads. Yeah.
I'm sure I bought a Twinkie because of that. But, if Batman likes Twinkies, I'll eat one.
Yeah. Hey, he helped fight off a whole gaggle of villains to get... Because they were stealing these Hostess
I remember, BMX bikes and...
Yeah, if you sold grit...
Yeah, grit.
You could get all sorts of things, depending on how many things you were able to sell.
A lot of the ads, were Dungeons and Dragons, that certainly.
Oh, yeah.
I always read those, but it was mostly for the comic book, or the comic that...
They were almost like a little comic within a comic.
Right. I'm not sure I bought anything because of it.
Now, do you remember Count Dante? The deadliest man alive? His ad, it was in like every comic book for a couple of months.
Like how to learn martial arts and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember that.
In paper book form.
Right.
Because it's like, yeah, you learn by, it's like, who are you going to learn this from? I mean, like this book that you're reading, is that really going to be, an effective way to learn how, martial arts really works?
Right. Of course. Didn't the Karate Kid learn karate, through his books?
Through a book, yeah. Yeah, there was no instructor, there to kind of like check your form, see if you were, in the proper stance, if you're fit. No. But apparently Count Dante, deadliest man alive, could show you through his book, like illegal methods of fighting secrets.
He taught you De Mock, the death touch.
This is where Jean-Claude got his start. So I was looking up these ads. Some of them, I mean, like the ridiculousness of some of these ads. Mail away for baby alligators. Do you remember those?
No, I do not.
Oh my gosh. But there were
apparently I didn't pay attention to the ads.
Oh, the ads. I was just enamored with these ads because what they did was that it was just like, because my parents would never order away for ads. Yeah. Never. But, like there's 100 toy soldiers in its own Foot Locker. Those green army men that was on the back.
I do remember that. And the Cowboys and Indians too.
Yeah, and the Roman soldiers, because everybody wants to reenact.
Yeah, who wouldn't? That's not the part of the Roman lifestyle I want to reenact. It's the Roman soldier part.
Yeah. Do you like gladiator movies? But the joy buzzer, the money changer.
The guy kicking people in the sand.
Oh, yeah. The Charles
guy.
Atlas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't say that I ever ordered anything off of that.
Oh, man. Every issue I wanted, I want that Hercules wristband.
Yeah.
Oh, I want that werewolf mask. A life-size Frankenstein to scare my friends. Holy crap. Yes, I'll take two.
I mostly just looked at them for what's coming up at comics. I'd read the letter column. I wish they'd still do letter column, but actually I don't care because I don't collect new comics, but I'd read the letter column and look at the house ads and all that, and I remember it had to be pretty catchy for me to read them and notice them. Otherwise, it was you look at the bottom of the page and it says your story continues in 2 pages, flip. And then I would just flip through. As we went on in life, they got more colorful and actual ads. That's why I remember the BMX and the helmet and the stuff in the back.
Oh,
the very back of the page.
Yeah, not rip-off ads, but legit ads. Yeah, for,
stuff like that. You get
Bubblicious or Bubble Yum, course, and Bonkers.
Yep.
Fruits, candies, or whatever.
Hubba Bubba.
Spalding with Rick Barry and Dr. J.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it got me watching some YouTube channels where they actually show what you get.
Yeah.
What you actually ordered.
Right. Yeah, that'd be good.
So some of them, I highly recommend it. You want to know why we live in such a cynical society? It's these ads.
Right.
They made us all, we grew up thinking like, holy crap, this is going to be so amazing. I'm going to be able to get this life-size monster, 7-foot tall Frankenstein. And it's just like a vinyl sheet with a picture of Frankenstein on it. And it's like, it's not even a poster. It's just like a rolled up vinyl sheet that's like, the old Halloween costumes, or actually a trash bag, was put on.
Disappointed.
Yep, ever so much. And finally, it was. It's no mystery how old we are and how long ago these ads showed up. But I finally saw images of the 100 toy soldiers you got in that Foot Locker.
Okay.
These things are whisper thin. There's nothing in there.
They're probably worth something now, though.
If you got the complete set, somebody probably would want to buy them.
Yeah.
But, and I did catch a lot of the other, the ads that really kind of moved me were the ones that were still superhero themed, meaning, like you mentioned, the Hostess ones, or the ones that had the Mego figures.
Yeah.
And it would show what figures were coming out from Mego that year, or the Star Wars related, like, model kits with Star Wars, or, here's a couple T-shirts that had, like, if I remember, there's somewhere like the characters of Star Wars are wearing like clothing and articles from Star Wars. Yeah. And it's like, oh man, enamored by that.
Well, a lot of the ones I remember was just someone placing an ad selling their comics, Mile High, or order this catalog and you'll see back issue, and then like they have the list of comics that you can get. I'm tempted to go back and try and get some of these, for the quarter that says it's worth,
Yeah, you printed the price in your publication.
You didn't say it expired.
False advertising to get that Giant X-Men number one as being
right. You said it was $4. I'll give you $5.
Yeah, I'm willing to adjust for inflation.
I'll pay shipping.
Yeah, like that's gonna be. Yeah, we're holding you to those prices,
right?
But apparently they did. They actually shipped out live monkeys. These are baby monkeys that you could get, and they'd ship them out. And as part of that, these things would come, but they would be
be starved.
Yes, starved, very little air, completely panic-stricken. Right. And you'd open up the box, and this thing would just leap out and go crazy just nuts on you.
Your eye out.
And I'm thinking, this is amazing. Can you imagine? Like, I ordered this, and I actually got a live monkey. Now, what do? No idea, and no one cares.
How many escaped and are just in the jungles right now?
Oh, I know. In the greater Grand Rapids area, there's tons
alligators in the sewer and live monkeys.
Monkeys running around. I don't know if they would have survived the winter at all, but holy crap. That would be brilliant. Can you imagine if there was like a comic book superhero based on what you could have ordered from these comic book ads? We were talking about One Punch Man who, basically trained himself to perfection because that's all he wanted to do. But if it was, here's an ad, it's like this guy, dial H for hero, move over. It's going to be A for ads or something like Ad Man or something like that, where it's just, he's running around with like, I have Hercules bracelets, which give me augmented strength. I know Count Dante's special deadly moves. I have got live alligators that I can throw at you.
Let me put on my X-ray glasses.
And all the superpowers. And then also, I know how to attract women.
That's right.
It's like, man, his secret identity, he can go back to his skinny form that gets the sand kicked out of him.
Right.
And then when he wants to turn into a hero, he just looks at that ad and then poof. I think we have something, Andy.
Yeah, I think you're onto something.
This might work.
Quick, trademark down. The boys. Dynamite! The first 5 issues were Wildstorm. Then DC said, this is a little risky, and we don't think anti-superheroes is a good job for DC Comics, so we're going to cancel you. And then Warren Ellis, the writer, said, hey, anybody else take up our book? And Dynamite said, we got nothing to lose, we'll do it. They started publishing it with issue, I think it was 6, but maybe it was 7 after that, and that's where The Boys came from. And then now it's so popular as a TV show and everything. Well, was about to reveal how I feel about it, but I'm going to hold off on that just a little bit longer. It is The Boys that Mike has picked out. I'm going to blame you continually for it. So, and like I said, it was written by Garth Ennis. Did I say Warren Ellis? It's Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis. Co-created, designed, illustrated by Derek Robertson back in 2006. And the series did finish. It's done. I'm sure they have other things coming out now that there's a TV show, but the original, The Boys, is complete. Admittedly, I've only read the first 2 trades, but I don't remember what happened in the second one, so apparently not much. I've read the first trade twice now, but I've read it again several years apart. Do you collect anything from Dynamite other than that?
No. In fact, I was kind of surprised to make that connection that this was Dynamite, because Dynamite I usually associate with
It's Dynamite.
the use of public domain Golden Age characters, but that's about the extent of it. I don't really recall a whole lot. Ironically, I had worked on a toy line called Captain Action. The first superhero action figure is what it claimed to be, even though that Ideal, I believe it came out with a wooden Superman back in the way back when. That was kind of a maquette, mannequin-y kind of Superman, but they claimed that this was, Ideal later came out with Captain Action as a takeoff of the G.I. Joe concept, but instead of G.I. Joe dressing up in military costumes, this was Captain Action dressing up as superheroes. So you'd have these different costumes you put on them. So there was a resurgence or an attempt to bring that toy line back, and I had worked on that line. Doing that, Dynamite actually wound up publishing new Captain Action comic books. There was a very tangential connection, I guess, to Dynamite.
Well, that's cool. I've used Dynamite in Minecraft. And hey, that reminds me, I have a manga update. Are you ready for this? I've read a manga for not for the podcast, just because
Pure entertainment,
and it was called Fruits Basket.
One more time.
Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya. I read the first book. It was interesting, to say the least. I think I enjoyed it more than One Punch Man, the manga comic. It was not what I was expecting, so that was kind of refreshing. I didn't think the art was great, though. I think it needed some work. Some of the panels didn't flow as well, but I enjoyed myself a lot more than One Punch Man. I at least tried something else, and if something falls into my lap again, a number one of some title, I will give that a try too. I did also watch the anime One Punch Man, at least the first, I think it's just the first 2 episodes with my child number 3. He wanted to watch it. Actually, he wants to watch Cowboy Bebop more. I made him watch One Punch Man, which he has already watched. And I enjoyed that better than the manga as well. Like, the anime version seemed to flow more, and it made a little more sense, and it had some scenes that the manga didn't that kind of filled in a little bit. Just simple stuff, more about him and how he was trying to cope with it. And the manga tried to touch on that, but I don't think it was very clear, or as clear as the anime. So I am trying, people. I really am. The old man in me wants to go watch old Looney Tunes instead, but no, I was watching some anime and reading some manga, and now that means I'm hip and current, and you must like me a little bit more than before.
Yeah, and that one's an odd book, too. I mean, like, I'm assuming you just stumbled across it. It wasn't like the title itself that lured you into getting that book?
No, not at all. I think my wife picked it up somewhere with the thought of reselling it, and so it just kind of, we were pricing things for some of our booths, so it fell into my lap as I was pricing, and I thought, I just did a One Punch Man, and I should try and read this and see if I'm now manga crazy.
Yep. You're fully embracing the dark side.
Right. Still no, but, I'm closer. I'm closer to it.
Yeah, and it's an interesting one, though, because it's like this storyline is nothing even remotely like where you're supposed to be reading and talking about at the moment.
And I'm still confused to what the Fruits Basket was, but the boys.
Yes.
So is this your first time encountering the boys?
In comic book form? Yeah, I watched a couple of the episodes on Amazon to see if what is this truly superhero? Is it deconstructing superheroes? What is this? So I watched just a couple of the episodes, and then I thought, well, since that seems to be gaining the popularity, I think I kind of starting to recall the quote-unquote recommendation to read it, because of it being like, hey, if this is a thing, maybe we can go back to the source material and find a kinder, gentler approach to this storyline. I think I was proved wrong.
What, that it was kindler and gentler, or what?
No. Yeah, it was much the opposite.
This is,
yeah.
This is a little out of our normal type of book that we read. What was the last book that I thought was a little more risque than we know? Something is Killing the Children.
Yeah.
Was a little out of our scope just because they swear a lot and stuff. But that ended up being wonderful. A great book. The boys also uses some language that that we're struggled to put on the podcast, but it also had some events, scenarios that we aren't used to on the podcast. And if you're listening to this and you're familiar with the boys, you know what we're talking about. Yeah, so this is going to be a more interesting one to review and keep it semi-family friendly. I mean, we still laugh at wood jokes and stuff, but keep it at least not R-rated stuff. So we may skirt around some of the issues, but some of it I have to talk about, and we'll see if I can edit some beeps in or something.
So before we go too terribly far, let's talk a little bit about some of the characters, and one in particular that kind of threw me off. I love Simon Pegg. I've watched him since Spaced and his kind of British TV show he was in prior to getting into all these movies and stuff. And that one of the characters in this book is clearly Simon Pegg.
He's based on Simon Pegg, definitely. Huey, they've totally admitted that he's based on him. And he almost played him for the show. But I don't think they could get him to do it. I think they made him his father, like a guest appearance as his father on the show or something instead. So,
yeah, it's been a while since I've seen the show, so I can't really remember. Again, talk about blocking things out of your mind for shock value. There was a particular panel where the Huey character is at home and he's watching TV, and on the TV screen, superimposed, is a great scene from Shaun of the Dead. They barely kind of comic book eyes, meaning it's such a tucked back in there, but it's clearly a photograph where everything else is hand drawn. This is a photograph that they just amped the contrast up and recolored, but it's Nick Frost and Simon Pegg from Shaun of the Dead just talking to each other on the TV screen. I'm like, that's so good.
Yeah, that's great. Where do we start on this?
I'm trying to figure that out too. We can talk about the basic premise. Let's cover the premise of this thing, and then that might be as far as we can kind of go. But we'll see where we head.
So, premise is there's a lot of superheroes on this planet. Superheroes exist. They're all over the place. I was amazed at how many there were, and I'm sure there's even more mentioned later. Just overpopulated almost. I mean, to me, and I don't know if you feel this way too, it was a parody of DC comics rather than Marvel. Like it was more of a DC universe parody.
Yeah, with DC, there's definitely, because they've got the archetypes.
Yeah,
you got your Superman, your Batman, and your Wonder Woman.
Yep, Aquaman.
Those are your. So I mean, they've got basically a version Martian Manhunter. Yeah, I mean they're all there from the Justice League.
Yeah, so it's definitely a DC parody. I guess the premise is once you become a superhero, you are corrupted by the popularity and the arrogance. Like most of the heroes aren't really heroes; they're just portraying them. They're actually mostly jerks and perverts. Who knows what else? Not good people, but they have this promo, this PR team that has them look good for the most part, unless you encounter them in real life, and then you realize they're all not good.
Yeah, it's that adage of power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and then that's them kind of going in on that phrase to the next degree of what would happen if you really could fly and appear over people, and if people took that to the next degree of oh my goodness, this guy can fly, what else can he, and then they just kind of behold him as, instead of calling him out as a freak of nature, they just be almost worship them. There's a Netflix special with that John Mulaney, and he was talking about how when he was a writer at Saturday Night Live, Mick Jagger was the special guest, and Mick Jagger would stand there and just said, something like Diet Coke and hold his hand out. He just fully expected that somebody would give him his soda or his drink or whatever it was instantly into his hand. So it was like there wasn't even just like when you have that much power and your life is in that form, it just comes to your mind that this is the way the world works, right?
Yeah.
Everybody bends and bows to whatever I'm asking for. And the same thing here. It's like if you had superpowers and people just started worshiping you as, wow, look at this guy, this paragon. Yeah, it just kind of goes to your head.
Yeah. And there's really two storylines in this. The first one is a CIA operation where you have some anti-heroes policing basically the heroes, trying to keep them in line. I was unsure exactly what their
it's basically to kind of tell them that there's out there that's kind of keeping these people from going like completely to try to take over the world. Right. It's like at any moment, if you do get out of line, we put you back in your place and we'll show you that we can.
And then the second storyline was there was a new hero, Starlight, who joined the Big Seven, which is the Justice League type group. Her realizing that being part of this larger group wasn't all cracked up as it should have been. All her heroes and stuff turned out to be not what they should be. And so it's kind of, we're just reviewing like the first 5 or 6 issues. I'm pretty sure it goes into a lot more detail on the second trade about her and struggles to maintain herself while joining this group who lets her down constantly.
Well, it's great because what they've done is the introduction is through a character who's being introduced themselves, meaning it worked with the first like X-Men movie, the Bryan Singer X-Men movie, where it's like went through the entire introduction of the X-Men via Rogue. Rogue met with Wolverine and then met with Professor X and then met with, so that way you have, through her kind of vicariously, you learn how these other things happen in this world. And the same thing here is that you have Huey and you have Starlight. Yeah, sorry, good grief, I wasn't even close. You can edit that. So it sounds like I actually read this book.
Say Starlight again.
Starlight. You're introduced to the CIA operatives and Butcher and his team through Huey. And as he's a neophyte, then we all get to be, as we all are. And the same thing with her as part of the Seven, we get to see what life is like through the superheroes, through her eyes. And so it works out really, really well.
Yeah, and both of them are surprised at who they have joined up with and are unsure whether they want to continue doing what they want to do. Huey has it for a different reason than Starlight. Starlight thinks, she's made it to the top of the top and everything's going to be great. And it isn't. Huey is kind of forced into joining the CIA group early on, like within a few pages of starting it. And we're, of course, going to spoil what we can out of this when his girlfriend is killed just graphically and dramatically by the speedster of the group of the Seven. A-Train, and it's just annihilated, and he's in shock, and then the Butcher comes, and I'm still not sure why he was chosen other than the want for revenge over other people that I'm sure had suffered too, but it wouldn't be a story if it wasn't Huey. So Huey joins them reluctantly after a few issues. What did you think of the overall trade?
The story, the pacing, the characterizations, and I thought overall was good. I can see why there's popularity in it. I can see why people, it's far removed from what I would normally gravitate towards. But all in all, I think this only containing the first 5 issues clearly, there's a lot more story to come, and it's kind of hinted at in many ways. This was kind of a preamble and a setting up of things. But overall, I liked it, thought it was good, but definitely has a completely different sensibility than what I'm normally accustomed to when I look at my comic books. It's like, ooh,
Right.
Yikes, yikes, yikes.
I can't
It's
say
like the difference between seeing Batman and Judge Dredd. It has almost a very British-y kind of like, there's just that level of grit that you have to kind of get a sandpaper and.
Are we going to worship Keith Urban again? Because we can talk about Keith Urban for a while.
Yeah, that dude vanishes in a roll.
That's right.
Yeah, because he was great as Dredd, and he's great as the Butcher. So
yeah, he's the Butcher too, isn't he? Dang it!
Yeah,
he's everywhere. That guy.
You want to talk about Star Trek with Simon Pegg? Because
Right.
he's in that movie
too. Oh man, yeah, Keith Urban is awesome. He's in Lord of the Rings and all that stuff. Anyway, we've talked about him enough. And before, I'm not sure that I liked this at all. Like you said, I understand why some people like it. I like the idea of it. I just didn't like what was actually put on paper. I like the journey of Huey and Starlight. I just wish, to me, it seemed that Garth Ennis was just trying to find the boundaries to push and then tried to push it. Some of it didn't make the story better. It was just, how far can I go? And I know for a fact that later on he goes even farther. It's just there to shock, rather
shock
than fit a story. I mean, some of it did, but some of it was just like with the hamster. It just was there for you to go, oh wow, that what? And there's a time and place for that. It just story lack substance beyond shock.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was truly. This isn't the first encounter. I don't know if you've, speaking of Brat Packs, he had another book series called Brat Pack, and it's about superhero sidekicks, and a very, very much similar deconstruction of what, people think of, when it's a good, wholesome American entertainment that is the comic books, and the superhero genre. In this case, he completely demoralizes everybody's opinion of what superheroes are. And the same thing in the Brat Pack comic. Unnerving, gross, and gritty. And I say gross in that, it's intentionally, grotesque, I guess would probably be the better way to say it. But,
and he did Preacher, right? Garth Ennis did.
Yeah, Preacher. And
which I hear
Punisher,
great things about. Yeah, Punisher. And I've enjoyed some of that. That's just, this was just reminding me, how can I break the system? Let's see what I can do. Let's see if the publisher is pulls out again, or what can I do? Prod the, poke the bear, kind of thing.
Just see how far I can push the boundaries of things, and
maybe that's the point of it. That made me not enjoy it as much. Just tell your story, and what flows into it is fine, but it just, not all of it, to me, flowed.
Yeah, and there's also a level of Hitchcockian approach that is completely lacking.
That's a great phrase for this book.
But of the, sometimes what is not on camera, people's imaginations can fill in the blank enough. But when it's brazenly, shown, it's like, oh, this just becomes even more.
We're losing half our audience right now because they're going, oh, those old fuddies.
Prudes, all of them.
Right. And I'm not. If it's done well, great. And some of this was good. But I just, I don't know. Anyway, the rest of our audience is probably agreeing with us. Butcher's got the bulldog that wants to have sex with all the other dogs, or just likes to hump everything. And it's just, that to me is just so, let's watch Porky's, or, it's just, I don't know. It's like an 80s mentality of,
Delta House.
Right, Delta House. I didn't need to see that, or I got it after the first time. I didn't need to see it 3 more times during the miniseries, or during the trade of having him do that. Like, okay, I get it.
But yeah, it's definitely a mature book with mature themes. It does, cover superheroes, but at the same point, there's a dark underbelly that is not normally associated with the superheroes. I mean, if anything, Frederick Wortham's Seduction of the Innocent book, I think may have been the groundworks for this series.
Right. And it's bloody and gory. The art.
Yeah, the art had moments. Again, it has kind of that underground indie comic feel to it. So when, it being through Wildstorm initially, it's like, wow, that's kind of like, that's Jim Lee's imprint, and Jim Lee being, cross-hatch and mechanical and everything is, almost mathematical in its layout to have something this, like I said, independent comic feel to it. It's kind of surprising.
I didn't think about that, but paging through it now that you said independent comic, it does. I mean, there's some panels that look very professional, and then some panels is like, I could see that from an artist just starting out, kind of thing. Some of the lines aren't that great, not a lot of detail, but it goes back and forth, kind of like how much time did he have to spend on this? Some of it is, I guess, his strengths are masculine men and stuff, and his women are okay. But I never thought that way about how some of it does feel like I'm reading some underground, the X-Mutants, or Justice Machine, or just not quite popular enough, and the artist needed a little more work, not to cut in any of those. So some of those are good, but just there.
There were some things where, like, the consistency and, especially when you're dealing with a comic book that, you can kind of get away with it with superheroes because they're wearing a cowl or a mask, and that helps identify them. But there's a few panels where it's like, is that Butcher? Who is this? Because, like, the face structure changes because he'll have a very boxy head, very wide head, and then other times he'll have a very narrow head. And the hair is a little, more spiky, then sometimes it's combed down. It's like, I can't really tell. Is that the same person? Oh, it is. Okay. You can kind of infer it.
I don't know if you want to go through page, but
no, we can kind of cover, like, the intent is basically, I think we kind of covered the first issue of introductions were made.
Right. Yeah.
By basically saying, of, like, who this group was, both between the heroes and the villains, or heroes in the CIA, the heroes in the CIA group. You get a sense that neither of them are as noble in a group as they would hope them to be. But that they all have their quirks, they all have their vices. And it kind of ends, like with most things, each of these issues kind of ends on that, like, okay, well, this is going to happen, so guess what? And then poof, here's something else.
And then, the Butcher's team, like the Frenchman, Mother's Milk, and the female. I found those guys more interesting. Enough interest in them, and we weren't really fed a whole lot of them in this first miniseries. Just like the last issue when they finally fight another group, we get to see kind of what they do, but it's interesting. They describe a lot of heroes. Like, there's a Teen Titans group. There's a parody group of everybody you could think of. It does seem like heroes are more common. I don't know if that's true or not, but it just seems like everybody had some superpower or something, and a lot of them had very similar powers. It's not like I saw a lot of, at least out of the Mighty Seven or whatever. I mean, they were all kind of strong, and they all kind of were able to take damage, a lot of damage on some of them. And other than that, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, there were obviously, as noted, Justice League analogs. So they had similar power bases, which was interesting. Whereas in the show, the parts that I did see, the character, the Deep, was more like a Aquaman as opposed to in this comic. It's like it's got basically a guy in a scuba suit,
Yeah,
like
right.
an old timey scuba suit, like the Ghost in Scooby Doo. With a big mariner's helmet, so that they can go underwater.
Yeah. And issue 2 is more about recruiting Huey into the group and what he could do for them. Butcher, has this dark secret past, and he's done this before, but they quit for a while because of some event that happened. And so he's now, the CIA is asking him to do it again. So, I mean, there's a back history that has to be discussed at some point. It's more Butcher recruiting people back into his group. He gets Mother's Milk and Huey and all these. And that's basically is issue 2 is just recruiting.
Kind of like Bendis did in the Avengers series, but this one...
Bendis! Haven't done that in a while.
No kidding.
Let me just do it for a side note. I've read the latest Justice League versus the Legion.
Oh boy.
Issue number 4, and I immediately forgot what happened after I closed the issue. It was talk about a series that nothing happens.
True Bendis form.
Right. Even though things happen, nothing happens. And it's more of the same. You could have condensed all that into one issue, and we're on issue 4. Just like his Legion series, which was 12 issues, where pretty much nothing happened, or the same things happen over and over again. I'm not sure why he's still getting a job, but I'm not even going to go there. If it wasn't Legion related, I wouldn't be getting this book. But anyway, that's the aside. I'll edit that out. But I think we're already on issue 3 of The Boys, because really, I mean, you can summarize
it. Pretty quickly, but just some of the details you can gloss over.
Yeah, and there's some interesting moments when Butcher talks to Mother's Milk's daughter. That was kind of neat. Pushing boundaries that you didn't have to. I don't know. This one's hard to explain because of some of the things that do happen, and then some of the things that are just at this point. Why is this in the first book? I wanted a different beginning. Maybe that's what it was. And then you can go back to it once you've established some of this stuff. But right now, I don't care about Mother's Milk's background because he has done nothing yet for me to even notice him other than sit there at a table. I don't know. Like nothing's happened, and we got this background for him. It was weird introductions.
Yeah, I mean there were some good ones and some not so good. You're just kind of like, well, that's like the Frenchman. Just kind of like, well, let's introduce some excessive violence for all extents and purposes, no reason at all. Whereas issue 2 was more about the introductions of Butcher and his team. Issue 3 kind of spun off into kind of darker areas of the Seven and some of their heroes and more of their characters and other superhero types within the book. So like the junior leagues that would, kind of like, Major League Baseball has their, major league teams, but then they have their AAA teams that they scout to get, the next roster of players from. And so this was kind of like introducing them a little bit more. So you got a better sense of all these other heroes and kind of like sending a message. And I think, this whole series was really about sending that message out, to the Seven. And they kind of indicate that what had happened last time they had gathered all these guys together was to, remove a hero called Lamplighter from the Seven. And that was to kind of like go, hey, the CIA still has means. Don't think your powers make you completely immune to our oversight.
Right.
And so now that the Seven seems to be going back into like, hey, we can do whatever we want. They have to bring the band back together in a grisly way and most inconvenient ways in some cases. But they kind of bring it back. And so instead of targeting the Seven directly, they're going to target the kind of the teen operative groups, and that kind of seems to be what they were shooting for at the end of the third issue.
Starlight gets introduced to Homelander, who's the Superman of the 7, and he, of course, isn't who anybody claims, anybody imagines Superman to be. The initiation of Starlight is a little strange, and
college hazing is not. Yeah, there's nothing on this apparently.
Right. I don't even want to bleep it. Yeah, it's just a weird book. Starlight is shocked at some of the things she has to do in issue 3, and even like she meets Queen Mauve, Queen, the Wonder Woman of the group, and she's like, whatever, piss off, kind of thing. I can't say that. Can I say that? I don't know. So no one is friendly to her in a normal way.
Her entire hopes was built on her. Like, I'll reach the big leagues. I want to be part of the 7. This is going to be so amazing. And then only to,
right,
find that they're.
And I am kind of surprised that she's portrayed as this innocent person, because when you find the group that she was in previously, and there are a bunch of pervs too, like she must have known that.
She wasn't in that particular group. There was a couple different teen groups.
Oh, did I mix my groups up? You're right, I did.
Yeah, sorry. There was a different one where it was like American Boy was her boyfriend, and that's a different teen group.
Okay, all right, my bad.
Yeah, they had again, it's kind of like, having multiple minor league teams that feed into one major league team. Yeah. And there was yet another one that was like the teen team or something like that. I can't remember what that other group was called. But
Teenage Kicks.
Young Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the Teenage Kicks was the targeted teen group, but it was the Young Americans that were the...
Thank you, David Bowie.
That's the group that she was from.
Okay, so that group must not be pervy, because she was acting all innocent and everything. I assume there's still some good groups then, but that's obviously not what Garth Ennis wants to focus on.
No, that's
which is okay. Like again, I'm saying if you like this, great. Boy, I sound really old.
Well, I mean, let's go deep into the woods of nerddom. I mean, there's a difference between Dungeons and Dragons versus Warhammer. There's that kind of like, what kind of fantasy world do you want to live in? The difference between Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones.
Right.
It's just, people have, this is the fantasy that I like, and it's very clean, very simple, very straightforward, very myth-based.
Right.
And then there's another fantasy version like Game of Thrones, and it's like, nope, this is like what the medieval times would have been more like. A fantasy times would have been more like this, with more grit, grim, and...
Right. Archie, Betty, and Veronica, or Cherry Pop-Tart.
What? There's some collections that you must have. There's some books in your collection I don't think I knew about before, Eddie.
Be careful on your search for that one.
Remember that sidekick I had for one of our games? It's like, well, it seemed funny at the time, but it didn't really make the connection of like, This is probably highly inappropriate.
All right.
I was trying to find a James Bond kind of a fun, play on the names, but
all right.
Whoops.
Issue 4 starts out with the teen group kind of in a raunchy orgy type thing in their clubhouse. Huey gets to see it, and then realizes that things in his perception are not what is really happening either. It's a lot. I mean, that's the theme of the first 5 issues is, the heroes aren't heroes. They're all bad. The stuff with the CIA agent and Butcher, again, like a lot of this is just, you could have hinted at it, or you could have shown a couple panels, but we get 3 pages of of him and the
Yeah,
CIA. It's just to me, it's a waste of space. It's better implied than shown. It's maybe something for the long haul storyline that you can show. I don't know. I think it was the pacing I didn't like the most, and what he chose to write about. Like the subject matter, that's fine. It's what he chose to focus on. It really was redundant almost. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Do I show me something that I didn't already pick up on and go, okay, I get it. Move on, you know.
But at the same point, not to come to his defense in any regard, but to take a page out of the Chris Claremont book of writing, how many X-Men issues were there where it was like Cyclops, the guy with the optical glass, you know, and Wolverine, the best at what he does, you know, and then, you know, even in a 4-issue miniseries that Claremont and Frank Miller had done, that Wolverine miniseries, every single issue had Claremont written in there saying, I'm the best at what I do, and what I do isn't pretty. Every issue. And it's like, yeah, you know, just in case of like, you know, you picked it up in issue 3, and you had no idea who this Wolverine character was. And you just, I'll just grab this issue. Maybe he was anticipating this way, and it's like, I just want to make certain you still remember this guy's a jerk. This guy is not really the hero. He's really not, you know. And it's like I said, this is not to come to the defense in the least. It's just to basically say, I kind of wonder if there's some aspect that's akin to that, where it's like, you know, we're reading it in one big digested version, but if we every month, and it's like, who's this butcher guy? Oh, it's that guy. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. 3 pages pacing, yeah, that's not necessary.
Right. So, I mean,
a panel, maybe.
Yeah, or even a page. I think you get, I don't know. Anyway, so Butcher's group is pretty much blackmailing, getting information about groups and superheroes and what they do wrong, and because that's part of their job is to have one over on them if they need it. Eventually, Butcher injects Huey with some formula, Compound V, which gives him superpowers, or at least
for
super withstanding and vulnerability kind of thing, and strength, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, is that what every hero takes, or is that just another way to?
That I can't recall if there was something where these guys were, you know, experimented on, and that's how they got their powers, or if they were born with their powers that way. I don't recall that being brought up. You know, and that this thing was a development that would allow, or you know, I don't even know if this was like an extract from various heroes that they found that would work.
And that's how issue 3 or 4 eventually ends. Issue 5, we get Huey meeting Starlight, which I kind of like that part. You know,
kind of like this secret identity, kind of aspect of it.
So I would have liked to have seen more of that. Maybe it does in the next trade or something, and they become friends. I enjoyed probably this issue the best just because of that beginning, and because things actually happen in this story.
Yeah, everything that was building up is starting to pay off.
But I'm still not sure if I liked it enough.
It's consistent with everything else, even though it does offer a bit more in the way of payoffs, and you're starting to see, you know, like, finally, you know, the Compound V kicks in. They're getting ready to duke it out. They've set up the teen team, and the teen team is coming back to, or teenage kicks, or teen kicks, but are like, we're superheroes. We're going to take you guys out because you're just mere civilians. And they think that they're going to make quick work of it. You're like, uh-oh, I don't think this is going to go over like they think it's going to go over.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed issue 1 and 5 and 6. Like, those were fun because things happened and it wasn't paced as badly. And so the trade ended for me on a positive note.
Yeah, and there's some times where someone's writing might be at a state where it's, I know where I want the issue to end, and I know where it starts. It's the middle that I don't have completely mapped out. So let's see. I'm going to put this and this and this. It has to happen to get to this end. And then they're like, oh, crap, I still have 2 more pages. And I think that's where some of the pacing issues come in.
Yeah, probably.
Because there's clearly wanting to end on a beat,
note,
on a note.
I
So
hate
have we
coming
made it?
across
Are we
like
on
we're
to-
old.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily old. I think this is more just about, your sensibilities and what you're comfortable with. And sometimes it's just like, I can't use the, like Oculus Rift because I get motion sickness. But I got that when I was young too. It's like I could barely play first person shooters when I was younger. And it had nothing to do with old. It's just I couldn't deal with it. Just physical, my physiology or whatever. I get just crazy dizzy in those kind of environments. So the same thing happens here is like I think this is just about sensibilities of like, we view escapism, as truly escapism. I don't want to see gritty things. I see gritty things on the news every night. Do I need to see it in my entertainment? And so in that regards, it's like, yeah, this isn't necessarily, our cup of tea, but it doesn't make us necessarily old either,
Well,
in my opinion.
let's compare it to the other gritty book that we both loved, Something is Killing the Children. Now, that had a different art style, and it was more a little abstract than this book.
Yeah.
But I loved that grittiness, that bloodiness, that the whole storyline. I liked everything about that. I think it was trying to push a little buttons too. I wasn't expecting all these kids to be slaughtered in the way they were, and there was no hope really, other than the main character, the Buffy character. And that
Slaughter.
Slaughter, Erica, and I can't say anything bad about that storyline. And I read on further, and it was still really good. But the boys, some of it was the art, some of it was the pacing, but it tried to, I almost think it tried too hard, and it wasn't a natural story. It wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't as well written.
Yeah, I think there's a key difference too, though. One was like, well, I'll just probably put it this way regarding the boys. The boys is just flat out mean spirited. It's anti everything, and there's nothing redeemable about any of it. Whereas even with Something's Killing the Children, yeah, there is clearly the villain, but the heroes, they may be flawed, but they're still the intent of trying to help and rescue and combat this supernatural problem that's happening in that area. And and the kids are innocent bystanders that gets kind of pulled into the story. Whereas it's like, this is just plain mean. And I think once we started talking about it, I think that's what kind of came to my mind was that this is just mean.
Yeah.
It's just, I wanted to be mean about this, and I want these characters, even, the heroes, each of them are treated and represented as a negative, and it's just, I don't like superheroes, so I'm going to paint them this way. I don't like the government agencies. I think everybody's corrupt, and I'm going to paint them this way. And then even the innocent bystanders, I'm going to paint them this way, because even like the homeless people that were in the first issue, I think, first or second issue, they're getting beat up in the street.
Right, yeah.
It's like, man, everything's just mean. And I think there's just an overwhelming aspect of that where you're just like, yeah, it's just not for me.
Yeah, that's well said. This reminds me of, and this may have you attack me or something, but...
Well, after reading this, I'll get my V sauce or whatever it is that's going to come in and give me my superpowers. I'll come after you.
I don't know why, but the boys kind of reminds me of martial law.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's bloody for no reason or just to push boundary reasons. And martial law was more of a anti-hero too, and it was parody, and We haven't really talked about it.
Kevin O'Neill.
Kevin O'Neill.
And something Mills. Pat Mills maybe was the writer. But yeah. I mean, and that's what I was saying, like the difference between, Judge Dredd and Batman. It's the British kind of sensibilities and nihilist kind of quality to it.
Right.
And there's a time and place for it. That's what, it's like you listen to whatever music kind of fits your mood. And sometimes, the heavier, depressing music you'll listen to because you're in that kind of a mood. And then the next time you're into something that's like bust out Barry Gibb and the BG Brothers,
right.
or whatever, the Gibb family. And then you're like, oh, what? I have that in my repertoire of music, just the same as I have, 9-Inch Nails or somebody like that. And you're like, holy crap, what? Sometimes you want something like this to kind of, that's the mood you're in. But, to have this as the only thing, oof.
Yeah. It's Harry Connick Jr. and Uberstank.
Yeah, that'd be a duet.
Right.
Finally on to issue 6.
Oh yeah, issue 6. Right. The you go ahead.
Payoff. Yeah, the payoff at last. They were playing this up as like, okay, they're going to do something, and the boys actually do something. So Butcher and his gang hopped up on their special formula injection, super soldier formula, if you would, more or less take out the entire teen group until Huey goes one step too far. Instead of sending a signal, Huey goes one step too far and just actually offs one of them.
Right.
Inadvertently passes fist through entire abdominal cavity.
Yeah, he just wasn't used to his power, I guess.
Yeah, he had no idea how strong was strong, and obviously he thought he was going to be taken out by that particular teen hero, and as a result thought
And he might have. I mean,
the guy was going to do it. He was going to take him out.
Proven where they don't really care about civilians. They just
no. But then Huey's in shock, and here comes the police and authorities. Butcher waves a badge of some sort that basically says like, yep, the government will cover up this whole incident, but it's definitely going to send a sign to the 7 that you'll know what this means, and the 7 do kind of pick it up like, oh, well, this was
right. Message
another
received.
kind of situation. To the public, they have this funeral of this hero, and everybody's in attendance, kind of like the death of Superman, and then it shows government individuals that are in the pockets of the heroes as well, that are just kind of, it portrays it, obviously to the public masses that, this guy was the hero in the truest sense, always there for the people. But having read the comic, that behind the scenes they were anything but. So right. There's, what publicity can do, what a good marketing PR team can make versus the reality of the darker underbelly is said. And then Huey's kind of questioning his involvement obviously after that, and Butcher kind of talks back to him, and several pages it takes, but he kind of wins Huey back. And in the meantime, Starlight is basically conformed to the less than savory aspects of the 7 in order to maintain and stay in that group. She's willing to compromise her ideals in order to stay in this group, and that kind of ends that series. Yep, they've got the message. They know the boys are back, and they're going to keep the 7 in line, and without taking out the 7, because the PR juggernaut shows these as heroes, and you can't ruin that appearance, but you can do so by proxy.
I have a feeling in future episodes that the boys get their butts handed to them somehow, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like a tit for tat kind of thing.
Yep, it kind of goes back and forth. I would assume so. In some of the review kind of comments we've been getting, we've already kind of stated our general consensus, but going back to our one and done kind of a thing, I read this trade because it was like, well, that was all issues 1 through 6. Is that enough for me to read? or is that do I feel compelled to read more? Do I want to read more? And this 6 was more than enough for me to read. I'll not go back to another volume.
I totally agree with you, and I don't plan on wasting any more time. I will maybe give the show a try to see, just like One Punch Man, if I enjoy that more. I doubt it, but this was enough for me. There wasn't any of the characters that appealed to me to where I think, oh, I need to know what happened to this person. To me, I think everyone is probably a throwaway character. Like, I think the writer could just whatever and focus on something else and not really. I mean, obviously he's going to focus on the boys group, but I just think everybody else is a throwaway character that will eventually die or something will happen and he doesn't care. Because they're two-dimensional to him too, and just moves the plot along to the next shock. And I'd rather not waste time.
Yeah. There's other books.
Yep.
And
if you think we should continue with our boys review, even though we loved it so much, and we're actually in agreement. I mean, it's not even like a Ron Lim thing where one of us liked them and one didn't. I think we're pretty much on the same page with this book. I may have liked it a little less more than you. I don't know. I'll decide which one to edit out of that one. But
yeah, I mean, I liked the intent. I liked, this being like, well, it's a grittier, like I said, the difference between Warhammer and D&D. That's as nerdy as I can get. Right. Well, I could probably get nerdier than that.
Yeah, probably. But
it's just grim dark versus, fantasy dark. There's unicorns in D&D, and there's, chaos.
Corns.
Warhammer.
Right.
And so it's just
pushing boundaries for no reason.
Yep.
It's like, that's not really telling the story. That's just trying to annoy you enough to where you want to read some more to see if you get more annoyed.
Yeah. Have I offended you yet? Not yet? You're still reading? Okay, wait a couple more pages. I'll offend you certainly at this point.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was. And I'd try something else from the writer. I'm not crossing off anything he's written. The boys, I think I'm good. I think I've read enough.
Yeah, it's a kind of a one and done one.
Yep, one trade and done.
Yep, in this case, full trade, 6 issues.
Yep,
which is good. That's enough to say you've had a decent sampling. Because some things, takes a while to kind of build up.
It's not like The Amazing Wolfman where you just gave one issue.
Yes.
And you were done.
Yeah. And I was done. Yeah. I was very, very much done.
Done. So if you disagree with us and we should read more of The Boys, let us know. We know some of you secretly loved every second of those pages, and that's okay too. We are here to not necessarily disagree, but if you like stuff that we don't, that's okay. We all like different stuff. Tell us why you liked it, and we will not read it on the air. And what are we doing next, Mike?
That's a good question.
I think it's the Hawkeye miniseries.
Oh, that's right.
And let me just say, preface this with, this is one of my, now I haven't reread it yet. This is one of my favorite limited series of all time. And you know what else was my favorite series of all time? Secret Wars. And now I just like it. So there's a part of me that fears rereading this. I'm going to, for the podcast, and hopefully it holds up.
Yeah, sometimes you can't go back, but we're going to see what we can do.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good read, hopefully. And this is not to be confused with the new series of Hawkeye, but the original leading into like the West Coast Avengers,
right,
and all that back in the mid '80s,
mid '80s, or like '85 maybe, even that mid. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's right in my wheelhouse. After the darkness that was The Boys, this
will be quite the palate cleanser.
It will be total opposite, pure superhero fantasy of the 80s. Hopefully, you like it.
Are we good?
Yeah.
I'll dive right into it.
If you want to send us an email, we are at andthisisywhyilovecomics@gmail.com. Check us out on the Twitter. I will keep that in our show notes. We are not on anything else so far. I've talked about other platforms of social media, but I haven't had time to do that. We are on Facebook. Join our Facebook group. It has all our calendar for the next couple of months, even through October with the long Halloween with Tim Sale. That's as far as we go so far. We have a What If 2 coming out, along with conversations, which I've set up recently with past co-hosts. We're going to check in with them and see how they're doing. That will be exciting and fun, and I'm looking forward to that. Where are they now? What have they collected now, Kevin and Matt?
Propeller Man.
Propeller Man. Yeah, he has this addiction for Propeller Man now, I'm sure. I should send him my Propeller Man just anonymously.
You can have mine without the anonymity.
Right.
Flat out. Here you go. Yeah, if anybody wants some, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to give you the entire series of Propeller Man.
All right. And this is why I love comics. I am Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we'll talk to you later. See you next time. And all that other stuff. We have some Thunder Chicken coming up, and we hope you enjoy it. Bye-bye. Chicken is the greatest chicken I know.
Do you think there's other chickens out there that have equal claim on storm fronts?
Probably.
There's Thunder Chicken,
Lightning chicken? And
increasing humidity chicken. There could be all sorts of different chickens.
Hurricane chicken.
League of
the League
they
of
form.
Chickens.
Yeah.
Oh no! Here's another
together.
comic book idea.
They all come together like Voltron. They form Hurricane Chicken.
Right? Yeah. The weather clucks. I don't know.
Little did we know that Cluck Kent, mild-mannered rooster about town.
Oh.
Yeah. That jokes.
No. Jokes. Thank you very much.